Okay, so we're back here at BS2 PCG Deck Forger. And I know I have to apologize because the previous video that we had, the Army Solas Robot Army deck had some technical issues so that it froze, I think, during the last part of the video. And that's why I decided to reshoot it again so that I can really share with you guys what the Army Sola Robot Army deck is all about. So my apologies for that failure on my part, but then again I have to make it up to you guys. And so for tonight we're going to again make another video, and this is for Army Sola's Robot Army. So it's just like what I have discussed before, included in our brown deck box is the Army Sola Robot Army deck. And this particular video will try to explore how we can build a very powerful BS2 PCG deck using Arnim Sola as your main character. And for that, guys, once again, welcome back to BS2 PCG Deck Forger. And this is your host, Mark Iyong, as we try to make it up and try to explore again how to build Arnim Sola's Robot Army deck. So stay with me as we try to discuss all the supporting characters, or can we say equipment, all the real supporting characters, plot twists, and locations that are included in this very special deck. And this is one of the favorite of mine because, of course, even before with my previous TCG decks, actually I really love exploiting decks that, let's say, turn artifacts into creatures or even enchantments to become creatures that are able to attack my opponent's side of the board. So come with me and let's try to build the Arnim Sola Robot Army deck. So we're going to try to open up this brown deck box, and let's take a look at what's in store for us if we're going to develop the Arnim Sola Robot Army deck. And this is my favorite Arnim Sola. So let's take a look at what Arnim Sola has. Arnim Sola is a level 1 Hydra main character, and he comes from the crossover volume 1 expansion set. And as you can see here, Arnim Sola has 1 attack and 6 defense, and he has 5 health, and he has range. And what I really like about this guy is, of course, his keyword power, and this is called the ESP box. So for ESP box, for this game and for the rest of the game, you can play equipment as supporting characters instead. Equipment, played this way, have attack and defense equal to their cost. They have 1 health, they have swarm, and they count as the equipped character. So this is the good thing about Arnim Sola, because in this particular deck, you can turn all your equipment into supporting characters. So it's just like before in other TCG games wherein you can animate your equipment, or you can also or artifacts, and even animate enchantments to become characters or to become creatures. And his level up requirement is life is what you make it. So he needs at least 9 XP to level up. And when a card appears on your side, Arnim Sola gains XP equal to its cost. So it's any card, so it can be an equipment or it can be a supporting character, and you can count its cost to the number of XP that can be given to Arnim Sola. And so once he now becomes level 2, upon gaining that 9 XP, then as you can see here, he loses the ESP box. But then again, this has already been corrected before, and ESP box is for the rest of the game. So even if he loses this particular keyword power, it's still on, and you can still play your equipment as supporting characters. and even cards like Dark Phoenix or even Nullifier cannot turn off this particular keyword power because it stays on for the rest of the game. However, at level 2, Arnim Sola now becomes a 3 attack, 10 defense support main character, still with 5 health and range. So now he gains a new superpower, which is reactionary, and it's called a new robot body. And as a reaction, you may pay 1 red power symbol, and when this character is KO'd, reveal cards from the top of your deck until you reveal an equipment. Put it on your side as a main character instead with this power, and put the rest of the cards at the bottom of your deck. So if you lose all of those 5 health from this main character, you can still survive the game because Arnim Sola can gain a new robot body, and with 1 red power symbol, you can play as a reaction to save him by transferring his consciousness to another equipment on your deck. So speaking of equipment, okay, let's talk about the equipment. And these equipment are actually your supporting characters. So you have several of them in your deck. And again, because of ESP box, they now become supporting characters. So it's a choice between playing them as an equipment or playing them as a supporting character. And of course, one of your first 1-drop are 4 copies of the M4A1A Pulse Rifle. So M41A Pulse Rifle is the standard weapon of choice by the Weyland-Yutani company, and it's a 1-drop. It has light armor piercing rounds, so equipped character has range and has +3 attack +0 defense while making a range attack. So you have to understand that M41A Pulse Rifle, when it becomes a character, it becomes a 1 attack 1 defense character, but when it attacks, it becomes a 4 attack, okay, 1 defense supporting character with range, okay. And besides that, it also has M40 grenades. So during the main phase, you may pay 1 blue power symbol to put 3 -1/-1 counters on an enemy back row character. So we have put 4 of them here because they are very staple here to be able for us to maximize the attack prowess of the M41A Pulse Rifle during the early turns, and at the same time try to weaken your opponent's board, most especially the back row defenders, by lobbing them with those M40 grenades. Okay? Then we also put 2 copies of the Hydra assault rifle, and the Hydra assault rifle is a 1-cost Hydra equipment, and it is standard issue, so you pay 1 less to play this on, or equip it to a soldier. It has long arms, so equipped character has range and +2/+0 while making a range attack. So it's a little bit weaker than the M41A Pulse Rifle of the company, but then again, it has an additional power wherein using burst fire, you may pay 1 green power symbol during the main phase, and you may double the -1/-1 counters on an enemy character. So good thing about this is of course Hydra assault rifle can work in tandem with the M41A Pulse Rifle. So they can give the 3 -1/-1 counters, then double it with the Hydra Pulse assault rifle. Okay, your other 1-drop of course consists of 4 copies of the Net Launcher. And the Net Launcher is a Predator equipment. It has 1 cost, so it's a 1 attack 1 defense supporting character with your ESP box. And it has Catch Them Off Guard. So during the main phase, you may pay 1 blue power symbol to daze an enemy character. It can't recover until after its next recovery phase. So the good thing about the Net Launcher here, of course, is it's one of your key cards in your deck, since the Net Launcher can stall an opponent for approximately around 2 rounds because they cannot recover okay, during the next recovery phase. Then it has a way to, of course, forestall those very aggressive enemy attackers. So we have put 4 copies of this net launcher here together with 8 power symbol generators for them, because it can prove to be critical to building up your deck's board, okay, during the early games, okay, until such time that you can put in your big hitters like, of course, your drop 8 supporting characters, and of course your power loaders and queen jets. Okay, so later we'll try to explain that. But net launcher is here and it merits 4 slots because of its very powerful ability to catch them off guard. And the last of your 1 drop is of course the Omega Machine component, the very first, and it's called the Omega Machine component, and it's one of a kind, so you can only have 1 of this on your deck, and it has power drain, so when an enemy character recovers, put a -1/-1 counter on it. So later on you'll see the other Omega Machine component, and they work hand in hand to give those -1/-1 counters on your enemy's character's board, and of course they can help weaken the board state of your opponent so that they're susceptible to the attack of your robot army. Okay, now going to your 2 drop, we have several one of a kind equipment for your 2 drop, and of course first we'll try to discuss the second Omega Machine component, and it's 2 drop and still one of a kind, and this time its power drain is when an enemy character readies, put a -1/-1 counter on it. So the difference between the 2 drop and of course the 1 drop is this one is when an enemy character recovers, but this other one is put a -1/-1 counter on it when it readies. So again, you can now see the synergy between all those Omega Machine components. And of course we have a copy of the 2 drop Cosmic Cube, and it's one of a kind also, and it has reshape existence. So during the main phase, you may pay 1 red power symbol to look through an enemy player's deck and choose a card. Remove any number of cards with that name in their deck from the game. So this is a must for your robot army deck, because of course the Cosmic Cube is an Hydra equipment, and at the same time reshape existence can help secure your deck from being falling victim to, of course, samples of like the Dark Phoenix. So the Dark Phoenix can remove all equipment entirely from the game, so you will lose 2/3 of your deck or even 3/4 of your deck because of that particular super keyword power. And Cosmic Cube can help remove those Dark Phoenixes from your opponent's deck, and so they're included here because they're a must. Okay, and you also have a copy of the nullifier. So the nullifier is also one of kind equipment, and it has ultimate nullification. So when the nullifier appears, name a keyword or superpower, and enemy characters lose and can't gain that power until the nullifier leaves play. So again, nullifier is here, of course, because we have to watch out for those very game-breaking cards from your opponents, most especially that Dark Phoenix. And you'll have to be very careful when using the nullifier, because normally you can use it only once. Okay, unless you can bring it back with Magneto, and you can help that prevent that Dark Phoenix landing on the 9th turn. So you have to be careful with that. And of course, you also have a copy of the Book of Vishanti. It's the last of your 2 drop equipment supporting character, and also it's one of a kind, and it's benevolent, but you don't have to be wary of this here, because of course you're going to play the Book of the Vishanti as a character, not an equipment. And it has deflection magic, so cancel the first plot twist an enemy player plays each turn. So very strategic if you're going up against a heavily plot twisted deck like X-Men, or of course the Avengers, wherein they have very numerous number of plot twists. So this Book of the Vishanti can come in handy. Now going to your 3 drop is the first of your heavy hitter, of course, the Power Loader. And the Power Loader here is a 3 cost equipment from the Weyland Yutani group. and at the same time it can become a character, so it now becomes a 3 attack 3 defense supporting character once you use ESP box to play it as an SC. Now get away from her, you. Okay, so equipped characters has +5/+5, loses range and cannot gain range. So in this case, this 3 drop once played as a character can become an 8 attack 8 defense supporting character with swarm and 1 health. Good thing because you have 4 of them and you can play them successively, and they can prove to be a very good, okay, heavy hitting supporting character, because at 8/8 at the 3 cost is very much, okay, most welcome to add to your plethora of the robot army. And to add flight to your supporting characters, we have 4 copies of the Quinjet. And the Quinjet is a 3 cost, okay, equipment from the Shield team. And it has VTOL capability, so equipped characters has flight and +3 attack, +3 defense. So that rounds up a Quinjet once it becomes a supporting character to a whopping 6 attack, 6 defense with flight, okay, at 3 costs using ESP box. And this, together with your power loader, is, okay, one of the backbone or one of the backbones of your robot army deck. Of course, we should have also the 3 drop copy of the Cosmic Cube. And again, it's a 3 cost Hydra equipment and 1 of a kind. This time it has reshaped the mine, so during the main phase, you may pay 1 yellow power symbol to look at an enemy player's hand and choose a card, and remove all cards with that name in their hand from the game. So again, very strategic because you need to avoid, okay, those Dark Phoenix from, okay, dropping into the late game. And we have our 3rd Omega Machine component, and it's called, okay, the Omega Machine component. So it's 1 of a kind with power drain again, but this time when an enemy character appears, put a -1/-1 counter on it. So this time it's appear, not recover, or not ready. So again, the synergy with the other machine components are very good once you are able to put them into play. And for our 4 drop, we have a number of, just a couple of them. First, we have the Chimichanga. So again, this is also one of your heavy hitters in your deck, because at 4 cost, this is an underworld equipment. It's also 1 of a kind, and you can pump it by saying, by paying 1 blue, 1 yellow, 1 green, or 1 red power symbol, or just say Chimichanga, 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 Chimichanga. So put 4 +1/+1 counters on equipped character. So when it becomes a character using, of course, using your ESP box, then it becomes a 4 cost 8 attack 8 defense supporting character. So a good choice for your 4th drop. And of course, we have, okay, the 4th and final Omega Machine component, and it also has power drain, and when an enemy character exhausts, put a -1/-1 counter on it. So again, the synergy, once you are able to complete all 4 Omega Machine components in play, okay, you have one that, okay, puts -1/-1 counters when an enemy exhausts or when they attack. Okay, then you have the other one when they ready, the other one when they appear, and the other one is when they recover. So that's enough to really weaken your opponent's side of the board. And finally, for the last of our 4th drop, 4 drops are, or is the 4 cost Cosmic Cube. So the 4 cost Cosmic Cube is a 1 of a kind, and this time it has reshaped the soul. So during the main phase, you may pay 1 green power symbol to choose an enemy supporting character, remove it, and all other supporting characters with that name on that side from the game. So it's like a good creature eradicator, which is, okay, very important during the mid game to late game battles. Okay, and we have for 5 drop, we only have 1, and this is the 5 drop Cosmic Cube. So the final Cosmic Cube is again 1 of a kind, and it has reshaped the world. So during the main phase, you may pay 1 blue power symbol and choose an enemy location, remove it, and all other locations with that name on that side from the game. So this is also good to stall your opponent from reaching the higher drops, let's say the 7th, 8th, and 9th drop, and normally where the Dark Phoenixes will try to land. Okay, so it's good because it can remove those viable locations from your opponents and at the same time reduce their number of resources from the side of the board. Okay, and for our final 7th drop equipment, we have the Serpent Crown. And again, I think everybody is familiar with it, the Serpent Crown. It's neutral equipment and one of a kind, and it has unwanted gifts. So equip this, the Serpent Crown, to an unequipped enemy supporting character. So when when you equip this to an enemy supporting character, you may move that character to your side. So when this when this is unequipped from the character, then move it back to its owner's side. So this is again to grab those very powerful supporting characters during the late game and make them move to your cause. Okay, so Serpent Crown is here because it can become a 7/7 character, but normally we really play it as an equipment so that you are able to put them into your opponent's side to grab their very powerful characters. Okay, so since we have explained all those equipment, now it's time to go to our actual supporting characters, and we only have 6 of them in our deck. Okay, the first of course is the 8th drop Omega Magneto. So we have 2 copies of Magneto here, and he's an 10 attack, 10 defense supporting character with 2 health. He has both flight and range, and he's Omega level. So on Omega level mutant, you cannot include any Omega level mutants with other names in your deck, so it just have to be Magneto. And a good thing here is he has mastery of magnetism. So just to cut it short, of course, Magneto's power enables you to be able to KO an equipment from your opponent's supporting character side. And at the same time, you can look at their hands, and of course you can remove an equipment from there. And at the same time, you can search your deck and your KO pile for 1 equipment each and put them into your hand, and you may play all equipments in your hand for free. So they have to be equipment, not characters, and at the same time they will not be restricted by their team affiliation. So very powerful character indeed. Okay, and also we have 2 copies of Ping Fang Foom, and Ping Fang Foom is here because of his very massive ability to wipe out an entire row. So he's an 8 cost, 14 attack, 14 defense character with flight and 2 health. He's solitary, so Ping Fang Foom cannot team attack. And at the same time, he has massive, so Ping Fang Foom attacks rows instead of characters. He strikes with his full attack against each defender in a row. So later on, you'll see how Ping Fang Foom will work or synergize with this particular character. And that is none less than, of course, Onslaught. And Onslaught, you have 2 copies of Onslaught in your deck. And he's an 8 drop super villain supporting character. Has no flight and range, and of course, his stats will depend on whatever character will appear using his joint consciousness. So when you recruit Onslaught, each player reveals cards from the top of their deck and until they reveal a character other than Onslaught. So remove those characters from the game and shuffle the remaining cards into those decks. Onslaught has the power of the removed characters and base stats equal to their total attack and defense and total health. And since you only have 2 actual characters in your deck, so it's a choice between you having Magneto or Ping Fang Foom, to cover for Onslaught, and lucky enough to have another big character on your opponent's side of the board. So later on, we'll try to talk about more on how the Onslaught combo will work. Now going further, let's look at your plot twists. For plot twists, you only have 4 copies of a single plot twist, and that is strength above all else. So this staple of the Hydra team is usable during any combat. So if an attacker or a defender on your side has the highest attack in a combat, it can disrupt this combat. So normally you have big characters like, of course, you have the power loaders, you also have Ping Pang Boom, and even the Onslaught with a combined might of 2 supporting characters. And Strength Above All Else will prove to be very useful when it comes to using them in this particular main supporting characters. Okay, these huge behemoths that you have in your deck. And last and not the least, we have our locations. So for this, we have several locations. So first, of course, are 4 copies of red generating locations. And we have decided to include 4 copies of the King Preserve. And these are usable, of course, with Arnim Sola's A New Robot Body. And also usable, of course, with your 2-drop Cosmic Cube. And very important here because of that particular usage. And we have also included 4 copies of a yellow generating location. But for this, you can have the choice of course, having 2 yellow and 2 green. But I decided to use 4 yellows because I think the 3-drop Cosmic Cube is more important, okay, in giving you an advantage during the match by removing important cards from your opponent's hand. And this, of course, is usable for that particular red 3-drop Cosmic Cube. Okay, and we also have 4 copies of a blue generating location, and we have 4 copies of laboratory. And this has many functions in your deck. Of course, you can use them for the M41A power pulse rifles, M40 grenades, and most especially for the Predator's net launcher, which will be very strategic in your deck because they can delay your opponent's board by as much as 2 turns once you are able to daze those opposing enemy characters, which you are very difficult to get rid of, and at the same time you are able to stall them for at least a turn because they can't recover during the next recovery phase. So the blue power symbol is also usable for your 5-drop Cosmic Cube. Okay, and we have also 4 copies of Trophy Area, and you might be surprised that this new inclusion is because we have found that the net launcher is more effective in the robot army deck, and we need to have more power symbol generating locations for the net launcher. And since it's a Predator equipment and becomes a Predator supporting character, so Trophy Area can play or can pay for its particular superpower, of course, which is the catch them off guard. Okay, so we have included 4 copies of the Trophy Area for that particular purpose. And finally, of course, we have 4 copies of Gehenna, and Gehenna, of course, can generate any power symbol for a Hydra character. So this is also usable for Arnim Sola's A New Robot Body. It can also be used to pay for Hydra's assault rifle, and also for all the Cosmic Cubes. So very important indeed. Okay, so very basic. You just have to drop them by curve or by swarm, and at the same time, okay, the good thing about here is if you're able to land an Onslaught during the 8th turn, and Onslaught, once you get over and flip over your deck, and you're able to flip the Ping Pang Boom, and at the same time, let's say there's a particular opponent, then they have an 8-drop character that will now combine to become to make your Onslaught become, let's say, a 24, okay, 4 health with flight and range, okay, massive supporting character. And since Ping Pang Boom, of course, has, okay, massive, once it attacks, it can wipe out an entire row of your opponents. And since you are playing Strength Above All Else, and if he has the most, okay, power or attacks, okay, among all combatants, then he doesn't get struck back in return. Okay, at the same time, if, okay, let's say you are able to flip, let's say, your Magneto, then you can use Magneto's Mastery of Magnetism in order to bring back some of those equipment, play them as equipment for free, or you are able to KO your opponent's equipment, etc., etc. So very, very powerful combo indeed with this particular deck. So Onslaught, the only problem before was, of course, if you have so many supporting characters, there are so many random situations wherein you are able to, let's say, get lower cost characters for your Onslaught, and that's really sometimes a bad situation for you. But with because Robot Army deals with mostly equipment to become supporting characters using ESB box, then you are limiting your choices to just Magneto or even Ping Pang Boom. So it's just a matter of luck, whatever kind of supporting character you can get from your opponent. But chances are, if you are able to draw, let's say, an 8, a 9th drop, then that will be much better for Onslaught, because now he will become very big, really. Okay, so that's it for the Robot Army deck. I hope you like this new version. And of course, we would like to thank our sponsors. Would like to thank our friends from Treats for Them. You can download the app at the Google Play Store, or you can even visit their website at www.treatsforthem.com. And now they have a new product to be launched this month. Okay, and it's called Virtual Mall Philippines. And Virtual Mall Philippines will have also the same great features that we have for Treats for Them. So try to visit again Google Play Store sometime this April to find out if Virtual Mall Philippines is already in the country. So again, Treats for Them, that's spelled as TREATS number 4 THEM. That's Treats for Them or Virtual Mall Philippines. And also we'd like to thank our official venue, Forge Happy Place, and Forge Happy Place is located at Unit B, Velasquez Compound. Okay, that's number 70 along Naga Road in Pulanlupa 2, Las Piñas City, Philippines. And we also like to thank our friends from the BS2 PCG Collective, most especially from Mr. Benjamin, Mr. Ben Brosin, and from Mr. Joe, the Human Torch Vitelli, and our friend also from the Blues Effect, and that is Mr. Ralph Edwards, the Dark Lord. Okay, so again guys, thank you very much, and this was the Robot Army by Arnium Sola, and hope you found inspiration to create another powerful and yet very fun deck to play with. And again, see you next time for another round of BS2 PCG Deck Forger.